Hi there, welcome to the ClearSkinEssentials.com. I'm Natasha St. Michael, and today I've got some awesome news to announce. So we reached 10,000 subscribers here on my YouTube channel, and I'm super excited, and I'm just so grateful to you guys for all your support all these years, for watching my videos, for being around, and just being an awesome community. So I thought it would be fun to celebrate reaching 10,000. That I would do a Clear Skin Q&A, answering your questions about your skincare routine and your diet and how to clear up acne, how to get rid of breakouts, how to just get amazing skin. So recently I did a little call out on social media, on Instagram as well as here on YouTube and through my email list, my newsletter. And you guys sent me amazing questions. So today we're going to jump into it and I'm going to answer all of them. So the first question I received is from Trish, and she says, can you recommend a cleanser that is the same as salicylic acid? It seems to clear my subclinical acne, but I would like a natural alternative. Great question. So I would recommend trying honey as your cleanser, because honey has, especially if it's a raw honey, and it has to be a smooth honey, so there's no granules, no texture in it, is that honey has naturally occurring enzymes, and these enzymes are exfoliating enzymes. And how salicylic acid works is that it's an exfoliating acid that gets into your pores and breaks up the buildup in your pores. Okay, so all the dirt, debris, and oil, and sebum, and kind of that stuff that's like gunking up your pores, that salicylic acid is penetrating and breaking that up so that over time, all that stuff starts coming out. And so a lot of people with acne-prone skin, as they notice when they use products that contain salicylic acid, is that over time their skin becomes clear, it's less congested, and they get less breakouts, and then eventually it could clear up. And so if you're looking for a natural alternative to salicylic acid, I would use honey as your cleanser because it's got those exfoliating enzymes which will work on dissolving the buildup on the surface of your skin and could potentially get into your pores, also helping with congested pores, things like that. Plus, the beauty of honey is it's antibacterial, antimicrobial, it's anti-inflammatory, so it's soothing for the skin. It's a humectant, so it's hydrating, and it can be very good for balancing oily skin types and also acne-prone skin. So honey is great, and plus it also really brightens the skin. It can help fade acne scars. It's awesome. You know, in all honesty, there's no natural alternative to salicylic acid. Salicylic acid can be derived from natural sources, but there's a chemical process to create salicylic acid from a natural source. And usually that natural source is willow bark extract, but there is a chemical process to create it. So it's not 100% natural. And then there's also synthetic salicylic acid, which I believe most skincare products contain it. So all in all, it's one of those things that if you're looking for something to exfoliate your skin, I would go in the direction of using exfoliating enzymes, which are naturally sourced. The next question is from Rajna, and she says, hey, I have oily skin, and my face sometimes becomes so clean and scar-free, but then all of a sudden, everything comes back. Like even the cleared out scars become visible. Why does this happen? By the sounds of your question, I have a feeling something's irritating your skin. Okay, so, and there could be many things that are irritating your skin. It could be something you're putting on your skin that's irritating it. It could be something you're eating you might have like an allergy to. You might have environmental allergies that's irritating your skin. It could be hormone changes. There's something that you're doing at different points that is causing irritation in your body and inflammation. And what ends up happening is that there's blood flow going to your skin, and then suddenly those old acne marks and scars become red again, and they start coming out almost like they never went away, right? And that's just, it's like an increased blood flow, and that's usually a reaction to irritation. So my recommendation is that if this is happening to you, is I would first work on your diet. I would avoid allergenic foods like dairy products, maybe avoid wheat, avoid corn, soy, eggs, see how that goes. If you're using different skincare products, I wouldn't be changing things up so often. A lot of times people are adding new skincare products into their skincare routine too regularly, and that could also irritate the skin. So it's better to have one skincare routine and stick to it. Don't be using new products. Making sure to avoid alcohol, getting good sleep, and just making sure overall you're healthy, because there's something your body is having a reaction to, and it's coming out in your skin. The next question is from Gaia, and she says, I've been trying everything to clear up my skin, and now I'm modifying my diet, low carb, high fat, to see if I can get some results. However, I'm an underweight person, and my fear is that a low carb diet could be unhealthy for my body. Do you think this is okay, or should I wait and see? I'm so stressed. All right, Gaia, don't be stressed. So a low carb diet can actually be really beneficial for clearing up acne, and I think it's great that you're going in that direction of trying it. Now, you don't, obviously, as you said, like you don't want to be losing weight. I will say that for a lot of people who change their diet to any diet, sometimes the first week or two, their weight might go down. And a lot of times it's just your body's way of adjusting to it, and weight comes back within a week or two. So if you do change your diet and you start seeing at first some losing a little bit of weight, don't be too alarmed. The main thing is that what I want you to focus on is increasing the volume or the portions of the food that you're eating so that you're getting more calories. The good thing about like a low carb diet is, especially this one that she's going on to, is that it's high in fat, is that you're eating a lot of foods that are actually have a lot of calories in it. So like eating the meats and eating fish and eggs and avocados and nuts, things like that. Like all those foods are very high in calories. So you just got to make sure that you're eating like good, healthy portions of it. And whenever you're hungry, that you're eating, that not to limit yourself in any way. And to be, kind of expect that in the beginning there can be changes in your weight, but that's a lot of times just your body balancing out, because a lot of people actually go on to a low carb diet not to lose weight, but for other reasons, like clearing up their skin or balancing their hormones, or to help with their digestive system, or to help with more focus and better energy and for their mood. So there's a lot of benefits you can get from a low carb diet, and it's not only for weight loss. Now, if you find after a week or two that you are continuing to lose weight, my recommendation is to increase the carbs a little bit. Like a lot of times people go too over the edge of like, really like no carbs. And sometimes it's just too much. So if you are like, you've already increased the volume and your portions and you're like, I'm still losing all this weight, just add in some carbs and add in, I would say, vegetable carbs, so that you are getting a little bit of those carbohydrates that can also help to maintain your weight. That sometimes it's not about being like in a ketogenic state, but just decreasing the amount of carbs, but not completely eliminating it in order to get results. A lot of times we think we need to go to the extreme of things in order to make things happen. But sometimes just decreasing your carbohydrate intake just a little bit can actually make a huge difference. That you don't need to be decreasing it completely or eliminating it completely. So do experiment with that. But I would say in the beginning, just focus on having really large portions of food in all your meals and see how that works out. The next question I received is, how good is Micellar cleansing water for your skin? I recently mentioned this in a video I did. I'm not a fan of Micellar waters, especially because I think most people that use them don't rinse them off, right? They're just using it to remove makeup and they leave it on their skin. And it can actually be a big irritant. So my recommendation is that if you really want to use it, make sure you rinse it off, or make sure you even use a cleanser to wash it off after. I wouldn't leave residues of that on my skin. And also make sure to check the ingredients of the product you're using, that there's no alcohol in it and no fragrance, because those are irritants and you don't want that on your skin every day or twice a day. The next question is from Lakshmi, and she asked, having meat like chicken or beef, does that cause acne? And does eggs cause acne? Great question. So for those of you that might have an allergy or sensitivity to eggs, to chicken, to pork, it could very well come out in your skin. So if you have any kind of allergy or sensitivity to these foods, definitely have to avoid them completely. Some people too have a difficult time digesting red meats, and if it's difficult to digest, then you have to avoid it as well. But for the general population that doesn't have an allergy or sensitivity, I don't think that eggs and meats and fish will cause acne per se, but there's certain factors that need to be correct, okay, in order for it to not make your skin worse or for it to cause acne, okay? And the first thing is that if you're going to be eating fish, meat, eggs, you need to make sure that it's organic, or it's free range, it's pasture raised, or it's caught in the wild. The thing is that you don't want to be eating like animal products and meats and fish that has a bunch of hormones in it and antibiotics and pesticides and insecticides and all sorts of residues in the meat or in the animal product, because if you're eating a lot of that, that could adversely affect your own hormones and it could affect your health. So it's very important to get organic, to get free range, wild caught fish, things like that, that you're getting it from a quality source, because you want to eat quality food that is going to be nutritious, not something that has residues of a bunch of antibiotics and medicines and hormones that's just going to mess up your body. So that's number one. Second thing is how are you preparing these foods? Because this is where people kind of fall short, is that they're eating these meats and these eggs and the fish and all that, but they're using bad quality oils, they're deep frying these things, they're breading it, they're using sauces that might contain like MSG or flavor enhancers or a bunch of sugar or food additives, and these things could be what's triggering your acne. So it's really important that when you're preparing your eggs and your meats and your fish, that you're not cooking it in a bunch of oil, and that you're steaming your food, or you're roasting it, or you're baking it, or doing it in a way that you're using fresh ingredients and quality ingredients to prepare your food, and not making sure that there's no weird sauces and flavor enhancers being put in your food. Very, very, very important. And the last thing is that you need to also be aware of mixing meats and eggs and fish with carbohydrates, okay? Because this is where you can have a digestive disaster. And I would say the worst thing to be mixing your meats and your fish and your eggs, which are all, they're high in protein and fats, right? But they don't have carbs in those foods, right? And if you're mixing those foods with things like bread and fruit and like starchy potatoes, things like that, is that the mixture of high carb foods with high protein, high fat foods, is that all the ingredients kind of digest at different rates. And what ends up happening is, let's say you have a steak and then you have watermelon right after, is that mixture of watermelon and the beef in your stomach is going to create a lot of gas, and the watermelon, the fruit sugars are going to ferment, and that just puts a lot of stress on your digestive system, which ends up over time affecting your skin. So I have a lot of like coaching clients that do great when they stop eating high carbohydrate food, especially like fruit and starchy foods, with their meats, and instead when they have meat or when they have fish or when they have eggs, to be eating a lot of green vegetables with that. So you have like a big salad, and maybe you have some chicken in that salad, or you have steamed vegetables and then you have some fish with it, or you make a vegetable omelet, things like that, as opposed to having a burger with thick bun with it, or having meat and potatoes, because those things can be very difficult to digest, and better to separate those things and have them at different meals as opposed together. And you'll see that that can make a huge difference in your skin, less inflammation in the skin, and your digestion will be a lot better. So your digestion is connected to your skin, so the better you digest your food, the better your skin will be. The next question is from Sarah Jones. She says the best way to get rid of redness left behind from zits. I would say two things you can try. First thing, try cleansing with honey, because honey itself will help to bring down any kind of inflammation and redness in the skin, and it also really helps to fade any kind of acne scar or mark. That would be number one. I would also say too is look for products that contain vitamin C, if you have like a vitamin C serum, because vitamin C really helps to speed up the repair of pimples and breakouts, and especially getting rid of red marks. And then lastly, as long as you don't have any kind of of active acne, no active breakouts, no pimples on your skin, you can do exfoliation. You know, either you can use an exfoliating scrub or a chemical exfoliant or enzymatic exfoliant, like using the smooth honey to wash your face, because that any kind of exfoliant will help to bring that newer skin to the surface and get rid of the old, which will eventually over time fade those marks and redness. Next question is from Kelsey, and she says, I know dairy breaks me out, but I had a moment of weakness and ate ice cream this weekend. Is there a way to counteract it or flush it from my system faster so it doesn't break me out? Great question. I too get breakouts from ice cream. Ice cream is probably like my number one acne trigger. And my recommendation is there's a few things you can do. First of all, if you have ice cream and you can just tell that you're going to get a breakout, is start eating a lot of green vegetables, okay, and drink a lot of water. This will just help to flush your system, and the green vegetables are very anti-inflammatory, so if you do start getting a pimple, it'll just help to get it either shrinking it a little bit, bringing it down, or just getting it to heal much faster. I also recommend is drink mint water. You guys know this is like my favorite acne remedy, specifically for hormonal breakouts, okay? And all you do is you get like a pitcher of water or a big water bottle full of water and put fresh mint in there and drink it all day. And do this every day until your skin clears up. I have instructions and all that for this in my free acne course, so I'll put a link to that below. But this is awesome for those kind of breakouts where you know it's from your food and you know exactly what it's coming from. Just drink the mint water, and that usually helps to clear it up. That for me is like my number one go-to. The next question is from Kirsty, and she says, inflamed red skin, not diagnosed as rosacea though. Okay, great question. If you have like red, inflamed skin, my number one recommendation is to cut back on the skincare products you're using and really get back to a very simple skincare routine of like literally cleansing and moisturizing, and that is it. And making sure that none of your skincare products contain any fragrance in it, no alcohol, no active ingredients, so no vitamin C, no exfoliating acids. I wouldn't even use like something that has hyaluronic acid. I think for some people that irritates their skin as well. I would just really get very basic stuff and no fragrance in your skincare, and probably no essential oils either, because those are like the big irritants. And also I'd be aware of sunscreens that have chemical filters, because those can be irritating as well. You're better off using like a mineral sunscreen. So that's what I would do. I have a video on what to do for irritated skin and a skincare routine for that, so I'll put a link to that. But that's what I recommend, is really like cut back on the products you're using. Don't be using masks or exfoliants or toners, like none of that. Just cleanser, moisturizer, that's it. And the less ingredients in there, the better. Next question is from Manmeet, and she says, which sunscreen would you recommend for acne-prone skin for hot, humid weather? Great question. I recommend mineral sunscreen always for acne-prone skin, and specifically to look for a sunscreen that has zinc oxide in it. It can also have titanium dioxide, that's fine, but it must have zinc oxide. I much prefer a mineral sunscreen over a chemical sunscreen, because zinc oxide is very acne friendly. It helps to actually regulate like sebum production, and it can actually be quite soothing for the skin. So it can actually work quite well with someone with acne prone skin. So main thing is that you want to get a sunscreen that is a mineral sunscreen, and also make sure it's fragrance free, because fragrance in sunscreen can irritate your acne a lot and make it worse. Okay, so very, very important. Now, you mentioned that you have acne-prone skin, but I don't know if you have normal skin or oily skin or dry skin, because that makes a big difference. A lot of sunscreens can be very emollient, very kind of greasy, which are good for very dry skin. And then there's other sunscreens that are more kind of water-based or silicone-based or aloe-based that are much better. They actually dry down, or they have a matte finish, so it could be better for oily skin types. So what I recommend doing is looking at the ingredients of sunscreens available. Okay, I look at the mineral sunscreen ingredients, and if in the first 3 ingredients it has an oil in it, it's most probably going to be emollient, so it's better for dry skin types. It's going to be very creamy or oily, so it's more rich, more moisturizing. Now, if the sunscreen has in the first 3 ingredients, it either has water, or it has aloe vera, or it has silicone or like dimethicone, then that's probably going to be more compatible with oily skin types, because it will either dry down or it will have a matte finish. So that's how you can just tell by looking at the ingredients if something is going to be more rich or better for oily skin. Now, you do want to make sure, I personally find it's best to avoid sunscreens that have alcohol in it, especially when it's like at the top of the ingredients. So that's something to look out for, is that a lot of times sunscreens, especially those that are good for oily skin, might have alcohol as like the 2nd or 3rd ingredient or the 4th ingredient. Personally, I would avoid those, because if you're using a sunscreen every single day, you don't want to be using alcohol on your skin like every day or a few times a day. Over time, it can really irritate your skin, especially acne-prone skin. As for recommendations for sunscreens, off the top of my head, for oily skin, I would recommend like an oil-free sunscreen. Like you can try Derma E or Juice Beauty. Both of them make an oil-free sunscreen, which is lightweight, a lot more comfortable for oily skin. And then for dry skin, I recommend, my favorite is the Suntegrity, the 5-in-1 moisturizing face sunscreen. That's fantastic. And I also really love Raw Elements as well, and that's very rich and emollient, and I never get breakouts from that. So I'll put links down below of sunscreens I recommend for different skin types. Next question is, how are Clean and Clear products? Well, okay, with the Clean and Clear products and with most acne products, I'm not the biggest fan. And it doesn't matter whether it's from a drugstore, a department store, or it's from a green beauty store. I find most acne products to just be so harsh on acne-prone skin. Like when we have acne, right? Like when I had acne, my skin was irritated. It was red. It was inflamed. It hurt. It was oozing. It was raw. The last thing I needed was these harsh products. And I used Clean and Clear, Oxy, like all those types of acne products, and they just made my skin worse. Talk about putting fire on top of fire. And the best results I ever got was actually going the opposite approach of just using very, very basic and mild skincare products just to wash my face. If I need a moisturizer, use a moisturizer. If I didn't need a moisturizer, skip it. And really work on your diet to clear up your skin. Because for a lot of people, and most people that have acne, a lot of it has to do with what's going on the inside, having to do with your hormones, having to do with your digestion, having to do with food intolerances, all sorts of things. And if you start improving your diet and eating healthier, you'll see a big difference in your skin. And the number one suggestion I have for anyone starting out with fixing up their diet to clear up acne, just take a break from dairy products. Because I would say like 70% of people that have acne, it's connected to a sensitivity or an allergy to dairy products. And it means taking a break from eating milk or cheese or ice cream, cream, all those things, yogurt. Take a break for 1 month and see what happens to your skin. Because I will say, once you start improving your diet and your lifestyle, that will really help you get healthier and better skin, more so than using Clean and Clear, which is just going to irritate it more. And then the next question is from Tay Sweet, and she says, I'm 19, almost 20. Do you recommend oil cleansing at my age? Also, I'm looking at the Living Libations Best Skin Ever line. I'd say I have pretty normal skin. What oil of the Best Skin Ever line do you recommend? The frankincense, sea buckthorn? Okay, great question. You can try the oil cleansing. You said that your skin is normal, so it might work well with the oil cleansing. You never know, I guess, like until you try. Normally with younger skin, those of you in your teens or in your 20s, I normally recommend trying honey cleansing first, because I find honey cleansing, which means washing your face with honey, and I'll put a link to a video on how to do that. I find that really good for younger skin that's under 30 does really well with it. Just because it's very balancing, it's hydrating, but it's not drying and it's not heavy on the skin. So it's just really, it's really good for most skin types, and especially good for younger skin. But you can try the oil cleansing. Some people it does great with, some people it does not, and you'll only know until you try. And you said that you have normal skin, so the Best Skin Ever line could be good for you, because what's nice about those oils is that they're not heavy, so they're not like overly rich, and at the same time they're not super light that they're like a dry oil that might dry your skin. They're right in the middle, so they're really good pretty much for any skin type, but especially good for normal that's really in the middle. And I would say out of all the best skin evers, like which one to start with, I would always recommend starting with the seed buckthorn one. Try that out. And if you like it, then you can try other ones. But I find that one to be very much in the middle. It's a little bit more moisturizing than some of the other ones. And it's just very balanced. And I just find it's like the best starter. And then after that, if that works out well for you, then you can try the other ones, because they all have very similar base carrier oils. It's just what essential oils are in there. And yeah, the sea buckthorn it's beautiful. So try that one out. And the next question is from Kirsten, and she says, best oil cleansing blend for acne prone skin. Would love to buy the Living Libations one, but too expensive for a student. Great question. So what I recommend for acne prone skin is first to start with just one oil to see how your skin is responding to it. Now, there's different oils for different skin types. And for acne prone skin that, let's say, is more on the oily side, if your skin is like super, super oily, I would go with like a hemp seed oil. If your skin is just oily and acne prone skin, I would say go with grapeseed oil or jojoba oil. If your skin is on the dry side and it's acne prone, I would go with safflower oil or sunflower oil. And I would start with just one oil, do the oil cleansing for a while. Do it for like a few months and see how your skin responds to that oil. And then you'll know for sure if it works for you, if it does not. And then after that, experiment with a few other oils. And then later on, you can combine them into a blend. But just starting off, I wouldn't just like make your own blend and see what happens, just because our skin sometimes responds really well to like grapeseed oil, but then terribly to jojoba oil. And so you just don't want to be wasting your time and your money putting oils in that might be messing up your skin. And I don't want to just like send you off with like some random recipe to make something that might be a disaster. So start first with trying out individual oils, see how your skin likes it, if it doesn't, keep note of that, and then later on start mixing them together and see what happens. So the last question is from Thea, and she had said, should I wear sunscreen when I have active breakouts? Like you said in your video, you only used honey to wash your face. Did you use any sunscreen at that period of time? Great question. So for those of you that don't know this, I used to have really bad adult acne, and my skin was terrible. And the only way I was able to heal it was going on a super strict raw food diet. And at the same time, I had a dermatologist that told me to stop using all skincare products except for a mild cleanser. And she pretty much said, stop using everything, just wash your face once or twice a day with a very mild cleanser. No moisturizer, no eye cream, no mist, no masks, no exfoliants, and no sunscreen. And at that time, I was living in Montreal, Canada. We were just going into the fall, and I was also self-employed. So I can organize my schedule that I'm not outside under the hot sun. I can stay indoors during the day, not put anything on my skin, and allow my skin to heal. And again, at that time, I was also on a very, very, very strict diet. So I can do everything at once to heal my skin. And I healed my skin within 3 months. It was amazing. And when I had breakouts, I had really bad breakouts. I'm talking red, raw, like peeling and open wounds and like cystic acne. And my skin was a mess. It was overloaded by products. The dermatologist took one look at me and was like, you've got to stop everything. You know, and normally dermatologists want to give you stuff, right? But she was like, everything just needs to stop. And so that was my situation, and it was a temporary situation. So it's not like I stopped all skincare products for the rest of my life. I stopped all skincare products, including sunscreen, for a few months, and I stayed indoors. And then once my skin was healed and fine, and then the spring came along and I wanted to go outside and do things, then I got a mineral sunscreen, and I was fine, and I didn't get breakouts again, and my skin has remained clear, and all these years I used sunscreen. But for that limited time that my skin was in this terrible place, I needed to take a break from that. So I just want to be very clear that when I stopped everything, it was temporary. It was really like an emergency situation and my skin was terribly bad. And I was living in a place like in Montreal, Canada, where the winters are like -30, that it's okay if I didn't have sunscreen on to allow my acne to heal. Now, for everyone else, you got to assess your own situation, because I know some of you watching my videos are living in tropical places where the sun is super strong, and you must wear sunscreen or else your skin is going to get burnt, it's going to get damaged, and you got to do that. If that's your case, my recommendation is to use a mineral sunscreen, which is usually a lot better for acne-prone skin. Now, and some of you too might only have a few pimples on your skin that you don't really need to take a break from the sunscreen. When you're taking a break from the sunscreen, it's really at a point where your skin is just, it's like in SOS mode. It's really bad, and you can stay indoors and you can protect your skin from the sun in other ways. And at the same time, my strong recommendation is that you're also really committed to working on your diet, because your diet and your skincare routine go hand in hand. That's how you're going to get results. And it's kind of like, if you're just taking everything out of your skincare routine, but you're not working on your diet, your lifestyle, your stress levels, and all of that, then the chances of actually healing your skin and making it better are a lot less than if you were to, like, you know, do everything at once to really get yourself super healthy and in a place where your skin can heal. And I recommend that if you're unsure about things, go and talk to your dermatologist about it. I'm just sharing my own story and my own experience, but every person's situation is different, and you have to definitely make the right decision for you. Alrighty, so these are my answers to your questions. I really enjoyed doing this video. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I hope I got to everyone's questions. But we should definitely do this again, and if you enjoyed this Q&A, I will put a link to another Q&A I did a while ago. Plus, also, if you're dealing with breakouts and acne, make sure to take my free email course, because it's packed with a bunch of diets, skincare, tips and suggestions on how to get started with clearing up your skin. So I'll put a link down below to that. So thanks so much for being here. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you guys. We got to 10,000 subscribers, and I am wishing you guys a fabulous day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.